I'm speaking from my experience. I had the divine grace of coming across to what I call, or discovering what I call, the Kemetic cosmological argument. Because science is universal, science is provable, and science is something that we can defend. I used to ask myself a question. What made the greatness of ancient Egypt? What for the ancient Greek students used to come in Africa to get? Pythagoras, Thales, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, they were not flocking in Egypt to learn mathematics, astronomy. No, all the Egyptologists say that religion was the basis of all the knowledge of the Egyptian.
It's like somebody saying, you don't make me understand. But we can also say, but why don't you make an effort to understand?
A component which is based on the fact that reality is spiritual, that soul is not in the body, and that he's in his true configuration, man must be respectful of nature. And this education has to be brought back, first of all, by the spiritual leaders of Africa. And next, those spiritual leaders must be sustained by the political leaders.
Are you talking of an ideal world or a real world? In the sense of looking at what is applicable in Africa today, looking at the kind of politics that we have today, looking at the infiltration into the local system, including even the spiritual realm in Africa. How do you see the possibility of us able to do that? Looking at the way the situation is today.
I'm speaking from my experience. I had the divine grace of coming across to what I call, or discovering what I call, the Kemetic cosmological argument. It is an argument that enables the Black people to prove or to state the essential doctrines of their religion through deduction. So the end result of this is that our it is highest true nature, our religion is an exact science. And this is where we have to stand. I was talking with a young man who was telling me about his conception of God, and he used to say, this is what we have to follow, that is truth, etc. I told him, can you prove this? Because we live in a scientific era. If in a scientific era we can prove spiritually, we can prove scientifically our spiritual values, then those values will have a universal applicability. Because religion is proven to be an exact science, it means that it becomes something which is compulsory. to every person, to every black person, we have to stress this because science is universal, science is provable, and science is something that we can defend. Science is something that the white people will not be able to onslaught because in order to destroy our paradigm, he has to use science. But when we bring to him a science which is superior, he cannot do it. Why I say is superior? I'm stressing the fact that we can prove our thesis that reality is spiritual, while he cannot prove his basis, which is the belief that reality is material. We have to capitalize on this weakness.
Now, when you look at maybe the younger people of Africa today and the sort of re-education that we're talking about here, how do you see them participating? How do you see them reacting? What do you have to say about that?
When I introduce to them this highest dimension of religion, because I used to ask myself a question: what made the greatness of ancient Egypt? What for the ancient Greek students used to come in Africa to get Pythagoras, Thales, Socrates, Plato, Aristotle? They were not flocking in Egypt to learn mathematics, astronomy. No. They used to flock into Egypt in order to learn our religion, the highest science we had. Because the Egyptian knew that religion is a science. If the Egyptian didn't know that religion is a science, how come a Grecian student getting out of Egypt will try to demonstrate through logic, deductive logic, the existence of the Most High God, while he was living in the setting of a polytheistic civilization? So the Egyptian knew that religion is an exact science, and they were proving it. And that was the goal of their civilization. That is why all the Egyptologists say that religion was the basis of all the knowledge of the Egyptian. And this characteristic of religion is due to the fact that it was scientific. So when I try to bring this dimension to the black people, to bring out the dimension to the black people, first of all, they are surprised. Because they asked me, how come can you say that religion is a science, it's an exact science? Fortunately for me, I can prove this thanks to the Kemetic cosmological argument. I can prove this. And once I prove this, and once they realize that they cannot gainsay what I'm affirming, they cannot deny what I'm proving, they respect that opinion. And one of them asked me, why don't you create a school? I said, my school is there. The problem is, why don't you join that school?
That's interesting. It's like somebody saying, you don't make me understand. But we can also say, but why don't you make an effort to understand? Because it doesn't mean that it is my job to make you understand. Maybe my job is to make me understandable. But the question is whether you want to make an effort to understand me too. Because I cannot break your head and put information inside. I just need to be present. And be present is like, when you look at the flowers, they are celebrating life. And to celebrate meaning to just blossom, to just, you see the flower just shining. That is their own celebration. But what did somebody say? Well, I don't see it. Well, okay, that is not the fault of the flower. The flower has done its part. The other part is you. You can choose to see it or you don't see it. It's not, nobody is going to do anything about that for you. Going back to the conversation again of the identity crisis among Africans and the time that we have today, where Africa is really like a kind of I think I want to use your word, in a cage.
Yeah. Yes.
Are we able to use the system that we have today to retrace our step back? Or do we need to destroy this system in order to build another system? I think I need a clarification from there.